But I always remember when I was young cooking in Switzerland, and Switzerland, pressure was on every day, every day. The menu was in German, the chef spoke French to us. And
you grew up part of...
Well, I grew up in Sweden, so I spoke either Swedish or English. So every day you come in, and it's like it's just massive information that you have to get in different languages. And it was New Year's Eve, and my responsibility was to do the asparagus. Asparagus terrine with Ossetra caviar and smoked salmon. It's very classical food.
Right.
And I did this terrine with gelatin, like a bechamel sauce, thickened with gelatin, boiled the asparagus, put them in, and then had the salmon cured, caviar was there. So in this translation, I got somewhere I lost the idea for how much gelatin powder versus gelatin sheets. So I was 21, I screwed up. And I thought, okay, yes, it's okay, I screwed up. And I caught it, but I was like, I couldn't go back. So I was like, I'm going to put it in the freezer rather than asking my boss what to do. Yes, so I put it in the freezer. So when me and chef started slicing, beginning of service, he's like, why is it ice cold? Oh, it's not going to be ice cold for a long time. Okay. The chef is busy, then he comes back. Why is it still ice cold? We got to go. It's 6 o'clock. We got to go. We start slicing. Why is it ice cream? And then eventually the freezer temperature stops, right? Like it really stops.
Yeah.
Why is it moist? Then it's soup with asparagus chunks. And at the same time, and then in the end of service, we're just spooning this out, right? Because it's like, I was cursed in whether it was German, Italian, French.
You heard the curses in every single language.
I was cursed in every single language.
It was a European Union curse.
Yes, of course.
If you're going to fly to Thailand, it always pays to have a little help and a little protection. After that, you can rest assured that you're going to get there okay. If you're going to go to Thailand, you might as well go and eat the best food there. House of Palm, probably the best restaurant in Thailand, certainly the best restaurant in the north. Our host Montreux built a beautiful place for us to enjoy dinner. The menu here is fantastic. It takes almost as long to go through the menu and order as it does to eat the food. Once we figure out what we want, we start with some golden baskets, and then we go into the kitchen to see them make the sataw beans. Sataw is a bitter bean from southern Thailand. It's made with red pepper, chili, shrimp, sataw beans, shallots, garlic, cooking wine, ground pork. All of it goes into the wok. Once it's burning, you throw a little bit of cooking wine in, add starch and white pepper, and you are done. This is spicy, pungent, sweet, sour, and hot all at the same time. Not only is it a pungent dish, but the meat, the shrimp, the garlic, and the chili contrast with the bitterness of the sataw bean. There's nothing like a sataw bean. It's probably the strongest single bean I've ever had. Next dish is going to be spicy beef with lemongrass. We start with garlic, chili, and shallots, the base ingredients for almost all Thai recipes. Put them in a hot wok, turn on the F-15 fighter jet engine, and throw in your meat. The meat in this case is beef. We're adding fish sauce, seasoning sauce or soy, and holy basil leaf. Fry it up hot and fast. It's the lemongrass that makes this dish especially interesting, along with the extreme amount of chili that we put in. It only takes seconds to cook, and that's the way Thai food is. It's so fast and so fresh. Now we're going to move on to Chinese kale and soy sauce. Very, very simple recipe. You're going to take some garlic and oil, the Chinese kale, a little bit of soy sauce. After you add all that, you roll it around in the wok for just a few seconds, get it really hot, and you're done. That's it. That dish took a whole 15 seconds to cook, and it's just wonderful. The next dish is Andaman soft shell crab. We start with peppers, onions, and green pepper. Quarter your crab, dredge the crab in cornstarch and white pepper. Then you're going to make the sauce. That's got Maggi, soy sauce, and sweet soy sauce, along with a little bit of chicken broth and just a touch of Chinese cooking whiskey. You can use any strong cooking liqueur or cooking wine. Stir the crabs around in the cornstarch and white pepper, and then drop them in a fryer. Don't overcook them. They only have to fry for a few minutes. Then you're going to make the base. Start with a little bit of garlic and some shallots right into the hot oil. Add the vegetables. Now you're going to add the sauce you made up before. That's the whiskey and the soy sauce. Throw the crabs in, stir it around, onto the plate. Again, another fantastic dish made in about 35 seconds. This is probably the best dish that House of Palm makes, and it never lasts long once it makes it to the table. In fact, none of the food here ever lasts long when it makes it to the table.
Corked wine is when a wine has aromas reminiscent of old newspapers, sweaty socks, and wet mops. You do not want to drink corked wine. We're not talking about when little bits of cork get in your glass that can be easily fished out with your finger or some sort of a table utensil. Corked wine happens because cork is sterilized in a chlorine solution, and sometimes that solution can inadvertently react to a penicillin mold called 2,4,6-trichloroanisole, or TCA for short. That is what you're smelling when you're smelling all those old, nasty, wet, musty aromas. If it's not the cork, the problem can be caused by dirty wineries or dirty, unsanitary warehouses where this chemical, TCA, can embed itself into the wood or to the barrels. If you're at a restaurant and your wine has all these nasty, smelly aromas, be sure to tell somebody about it. And when buying a bottle of wine at a store, check the return policy. Okay, because if that wine is corked, you definitely want to bring the wine back to that store to get your money back or have it replaced. Which means what? Save your receipts and buy from reputable wine merchants. I hope you learned something today, and always remember, passion without pretension.
Hi, I'm Philippe Newlin with Devour TV's Top 50 Dishes, and today we're in Soho at Ed's Lobster Bar, where supposedly the fried clams are even better than the lobster roll. Let's go meet with Chef Ed McFarland and find out if this is in fact true. Come on.
Hi, my name is Ed McFarland. We're here at my restaurant, Ed's Lobster Bar. I prepared wonderful fried clams for Philippe, and if he doesn't like them, I'm going to have one of my lobsters bite his nipple.
Oh, there we go. The fried Ipswich clam dish.
Ipswich clams.
Ipswich, what's the story with Ipswich? That's up in Mass?
It's up in Mass, and you're going to get the best steamer clams, especially for frying from there.
Oh. There's a lot more going on here than my usual clam strip dish down at Red Lobster.
Well, this is the real deal. If you're going to do the dish, you got to do it right. So
yeah.
You definitely want to have whole clams. You know, just to do a strip or a belly, you're not giving the customer what they deserve.
Tell me a little bit about how you fry them.
Okay, so the first thing I do with the clams is I rinse them in cold water. They can get all the excess shell off of them because there's some shell pieces in them.
Okay.
And then I bring them over to the dredge. Okay, the dredge is a mixture of all-purpose flour and white cornmeal.
Okay.
But very fine. I lay the clams out in the dredge, and then I take a motion like this with them until they really get caked and they look very cut up, even though the clam is whole. And that's how you get that texture on the clam like that.
Wow, that is just beautiful. I mean, look at this. It's sort of like this rippling, a riptide of clam goodness. And over here, next to the pile of clams,
A traditional tartar sauce, very traditional accompaniment to the fried clams.
for our viewers, tartar sauce.
Mayonnaise, cornichon caper, red onion, lemon juice, and a little pepper.
All right, I'm going to grab this puppy right here, please. Let me put a little more of the lemon there, and then just dip it right in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Forget the fork in there. Forget the fork and knife.
You don't need the fork and knife.
Here we go, the belly. Come on.
I'm gonna get myself a nice
man.
clam. You know, the key is in frying them lightly, not making them too over crisp and overcooking the clam.
Yeah. It's almost like a Japanese batter in that lightness. Digging into the belly, I just tasted the sea. I mean,
Yeah,
the salt of the sea is right there.
You're gonna taste all the clam, and we fry them just really light and golden, and as soon as they're crisp to the touch, they come right out of the fryer. So I pick them up, I give a little poke on them. If they feel crisp, light golden brown, they come right out and go right out to the customer nice and hot. And we fry in peanut oil, and very gives it a little more flavor.
Okay.
Very good heating temperature.
This is just so awesome. Finger food at its finest. It's interesting, here down at Ed's Lobster Bar, the clam is what our surveys came up with as one of the top 50 dishes in New York City.
I think there's a lot of people out there who love fried clams just as much as lobster, and you know, they found a place that does them the right way.
Okay, so here at Ed's Lobster Bar down in Soho, the fried clam in this tempura-like batter, beautiful tartar sauce. I've never had a bivalve mollusk as good as this one, man. This is just awesome. You want to dive in for
let's finish
a few more? Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Top 50 dishes, New York City, the fried clam at Ed's. Thanks, man. Oh, it's good, man. I'll be back.
Never use a literal word.
These guys need to be able to ferret around in there.
I'd say it's
Extracted.
yeah.
Extracted. Talking about charming atmospheric peasants is sort of the wine writer's stock and trade. You want to go to college, you get it off the table, and you start kicking out. Lift off. Did you hear what he just did? Did you hear that? Only in the world of wine is it not gauche to slurp like that. If you did that with your soup, they'd kick you out of the restaurant. But
Does this not put Japanese wine lovers at an advantage over their American counterparts?
Yeah.
Because that is
I don't want to comment on that. I have
right,
a lot of friends in the
whole-
Japanese community.
the whole sort of slurping to indicate that you're appreciating.
But that act of slurping sends a message that you're serious. To not slurp is to sort of suggest that you're not really fully trying to gather in the full import of the wine that you're drinking.
I was reading, some wine write-up somewhere, and they kept talking about tight tannins, and it just sounded like jeans or something. And I said, David, what the hell is a tight tannin? Right. And he gave me a gentle explanation. Mm-hmm. That was a lovely time.
I tried not to make it. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I remember that.
What do you say to the people who simply pick up the glass and immediately just drink the wine? Where are they on the...
We say you've successfully rushed the frat, is what we say. Yeah.
You rushed the frat.
Yes.
I wouldn't say anything to them. I'd say, is it okay? And you'd say yes, and I'd pour for everybody else. The real heavy-duty snob,
Yeah.
because really that exercise is for one thing, is the wine faulty or not?
Okay.
All right.
So really, this is a quality control thing.
Here's a little inside baseball for you on the sommelier thing. The purpose of that exercise is not to determine whether you like the wine or not and are willing to accept it.
Okay.
So, if you just think you can just taste it, and if you don't like it, send it back. We need to talk. All right. What the exercise is for is to determine whether the wine is faulty in some way, corked, oxidized, whatever, heat damage, whatever it may be. If the wine is not what it should be. But if the sommelier has done his or her job, you've already determined that this is the wine that you like to have. It's just a matter of whether the wine is serviceable, not whether you like, oh, it's too fruity for me. That's not the issue.
It's not an issue of preference. It's an issue of whether it is faulty.
It's the issue of serviceability.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
That's correct. Correct. Correct's
the
not
wine
in
is
there.
correct.
But so that's a big misperception on the part of a lot of consumers.
Oh my God, my
and
eyes
the source of great bitterness among the undersized sommeliers of the world. But the exercise, if you really want to take it to the next level, is not to actually drink it, just smell it and pronounce it okay based on just the smell.
It frightens
and confuses even some sommeliers. They're like, well, the less experienced sommelier might say, this person has no idea what they're doing, but that is really advanced level snobbery. That's taken it to sort of like...
But couldn't you just pretend and psych out a sommelier anyway, just by doing that?
You could. You'd be like, yeah, that's good.